Jake leaned against the kitchen counter, a cold beer in hand, watching the living room buzz with life. His Seattle home thrummed with the energy of 30-some guests, friends from college, co-workers from the design firm, and a few cousins who'd driven up from Tacoma. Laughter ricocheted off the walls, blending with the indie rock playlist he'd spent hours curating. This was it, the first party he and Emma, his wife of 4 months, were hosting as a married couple. A milestone, a moment that felt like the start of something solid. He caught sight of Emma across the room, her laugh cutting through the chatter as she clinked glasses with her co-worker, Sarah. Jake smiled. Emma had this way of lighting up a space, her quick wit drawing people in like moths. They'd met 2 years ago at a local art crawl, bonding over a shared love of bold colors and bad puns. Now, at 28, she was climbing the ladder at a marketing agency, her confidence infectious. Jake, a year older, had fought through a rough childhood, shuffled between foster homes after his parents split, to build a stable life as a graphic designer. Emma was his anchor, his proof that the past didn't have to define him. Yo, Jake, his buddy Matt, a lanky coder with a knack for terrible dance moves, elbowed his way through the crowd. This playlist is fire. You make it for Emma, or just a flex on us? Jake grinned, setting his beer down. Little of both. Had to include her favorite Fleet Foxes track, or she'd riot. Matt laughed, then lowered his voice. Man, you two are goals. Never seen a couple so in sync. Jake's chest warmed. He'd heard it before, how he and Emma just clicked. The way they'd finish each other's sentences or trade glances that said everything without a word. After years of dead-end relationships, of partners who'd lied or left, Emma felt like a clean slate. He worked hard to be the husband she deserved, planning surprise coffee runs, leaving sticky notes with dumb jokes on her laptop, listening when she vented about work. Tonight, seeing her shine, he felt like he'd finally gotten it right. He grabbed a tray of sliders from the counter, mini burgers he'd prepped that morning, and wove through the crowd, offering them up. His cousin Lena snagged one, giving him a thumbs up. These are killer, Jake. You're domestic as hell now. Gotta keep the wife fed, he shot back, winking. Lena rolled her eyes, but her smile said she was happy for him. As he passed the couch, Emma's voice pulled him in. She was mid-story, gesturing wildly to a small group. So, I'm pitching to this client, right? And my laptop dies mid-slide. I had to improvise the whole thing like I'm on some TED Talk. The group burst out laughing, Sarah shaking her head in awe. Emma's eyes flicked to Jake, and she blew him a playful kiss. He mimed catching it, earning a chorus of oohs from her friends. But then he noticed it. A quick glance Emma shot at her phone, resting on the coffee table. Her smile faltered for a split second before she turned back to her story. Jake brushed it off. Probably a work email. She was always on call, her job demanding late-night texts from clients. He moved on, offering sliders to a couple of co-workers debating the Mariners' playoff chances. The night rolled on, the energy peaking as someone suggested a game. Q&A, Sarah shouted, holding up an empty wine bottle. Like truth or dare, but less high school. The group cheered, forming a loose circle on the floor and couches. Jake grabbed a spot next to Matt, while Emma plopped down across from him, her glass of rose nearly empty. All right, Sarah said, spinning the bottle. It landed on Lena. What's the dumbest thing you did in college? Lena groaned, snuck into a frat party dressed as a pirate, fell into a kiddie pool of Jell-O. The room howled, Jake nearly choking on his beer. The bottle spun again, landing on Matt. He picked a question about his worst date, launching into a tale of a woman who brought her pet ferret to dinner. Jake leaned back, soaking it in. This was what he'd always wanted, a home filled with people he cared about, a partner who made every moment better. He glanced at Emma, her head tilted back in laughter, and felt a surge of gratitude. Then the bottle stopped on Emma. Sarah grinned mischievously. Okay, spill. What's the wildest thing you've done that Jake doesn't know about? The room leaned in, expecting a funny story. Emma sipped her wine, her eyes glinting with something Jake couldn't quite place. She laughed a little too loud and said, "Oh, you want wild? Can you believe I cheated on Jake?" The words hit like a freight train. Jake's smile froze. The room went quiet, a few nervous chuckles breaking the silence. Emma waved her hand, still giggling. I mean, he forgave me, right, babe? Jake's heart slammed against his ribs. He forced a laugh, his throat tight. Yeah, good one, Em, he managed, but his voice sounded hollow. Guests exchanged glances, some shifting uncomfortably, others smirking like it was an inside joke. Matt nudged him, muttering, "She's just messing with you, man." But Jake couldn't shake it. Emma's tone, her casual shrug, it didn't feel like a joke. He searched her face for a sign, anything to prove it was just the wine talking. She met his gaze, her smile wide but her eyes off, like she was daring him to react. The game moved on, the bottle spinning again, but Jake was barely there. His mind raced, replaying her words. I cheated on Jake. Was it a slip? A cruel prank? He thought of her phone, that fleeting glance. Old wounds, lies from exes, late-night fights, trust shattered, crept up, clawing at him. He'd sworn he'd never feel that way again. Not with Emma. He stayed quiet, nodding at jokes, sipping his beer like nothing was wrong. But inside, a storm was brewing. Something told him this night, this perfect moment he'd built in his head, was about to crack wide open. To be continued, Jake sat on the edge of the couch, the party's laughter fading as the last guest stumbled out into the Seattle night. The living room, moments ago alive with chatter, now felt suffocatingly still. Emma's words, "Can you believe I cheated on Jake?" looped in his head, each replay tightening the knot in his chest. He gripped his beer bottle, the glass cold against his palm, and stared at the floor. Emma, humming to herself, tossed empty cups into a trash bag, acting like nothing had happened. "Fun night, huh?" she called, her voice light as she tied the bag. Jake didn't answer. He couldn't. His mind churned, flashing to past relationships, girlfriends who'd lied, ghosted, or worse. He thought Emma was different, the one who'd never make him feel like this. But that glint in her during the game, that casual, "He forgave me, right, babe?" It wasn't just a joke. He felt it in his gut. She noticed his silence and walked over, crouching in front of him. "Hey, you okay? You've been quiet." Her tone was playful, but Jake caught a flicker of something else. Nervousness, maybe. He set the bottle down, his hands steady despite the storm inside. "That thing you said, about cheating, what was that?" His voice was low, measured, but it carried an edge. Emma laughed, a quick, forced sound. "Oh, come on, it was just a dumb joke. You know, to mess with Sarah's game. Everyone got a kick out of it." She stood, brushing her hands together like she could dust off the moment. Jake's eyes narrowed. Didn't feel like a joke. Not to me. He stood too, facing her. "You said it like it was nothing. Like it was true." Her smile faltered, and for a split second, her gaze darted to her phone on the coffee table. "Jake, seriously? You're blowing this out of proportion." It was just a game. She stepped closer, reaching for his arm, but he pulled back. "Don't," he said, sharper than he meant. "Just tell me, was there anything to it? Anything at all?" His heart pounded, dreading her answer, but needing it. Emma sighed, rolling her eyes. "You're being ridiculous. I'd never do that to you. Can we drop this and go to bed?" She turned, heading toward the kitchen, but Jake wasn't done. "Then let me see your phone," he said, the words spilling out before he could stop them. She froze, her back to him. The air grew heavy. "If it's nothing, show me. Right now." She turned slowly, her expression a mix of irritation and defiance. "You don't trust me? After everything?" Her voice rose, but Jake didn't back down. "It's not about trust. It's about that look you gave when you said it. Show me, Emma." His tone was firm, his eyes locked on hers. After a long pause, she grabbed her phone, unlocked it, and shoved it into his hands. "Fine. Look, you'll feel stupid when you see there's nothing." Jake scrolled through her texts, his fingers moving fast. At first, it was just work chats, group threads with friends, a few memes. Then he hit a deleted messages folder. His stomach dropped. There, buried but not gone, were texts from Chris' work, flirty exchanges, plans to meet for drinks. A late-night message. "Last week was a mistake, but I don't regret it." Sent 3 months ago, right after their honeymoon. He looked up, his voice barely a whisper. "Who's Chris?" Emma's face drained of color. She opened her mouth, then closed it, her hands fidgeting. "It's not what you think," she stammered. "It was one time, a stupid mistake. I was drunk, and it didn't mean anything. I ended it right after." The room tilted. "One time," he repeated, his voice rising. "You cheated on me, and then you joked about it in front of everyone? Like it's some game. I didn't mean to hurt you." She snapped, tears welling up. "I was going to tell you, but I didn't know how. I thought if I said it like that, it'd just blow over. I love you, Jake. You know that." He stepped back, shaking his head. "You humiliated me. In our home. in front of our friends. His voice cracked, but he held her gaze. You don't do that to someone you love. Emma reached for him, but he turned away, grabbing a blanket from the couch. I'm sleeping here tonight, he said, his tone final. She stood there, crying softly, but he didn't look back. He couldn't. The next morning, Jake was up before dawn, the weight of the night pressing on him. He made coffee, the routine grounding him as his mind raced. Emma's confession wasn't just a betrayal. It was a crack in everything he'd built. He thought of their wedding, her vows, the way she'd promised to be his partner. All eyes. He couldn't stay here, not with her, not in this house. When Emma woke, she tried to act normal, offering a shaky morning as she poured cereal. Jake didn't respond. He waited until she sat down, then spoke, his voice cold. I'm leaving. It's over. Her spoon clattered to the table. Hake, no, we can fix this. It was one mistake. I'll do anything, therapy, whatever you want. Her voice broke, but Jake felt nothing but resolve. It's not just the cheating, he said. It's the lie, the way you turned it into a joke. I can't trust you anymore. He stood, grabbing his keys. I'll pack my things this weekend. Emma sobbed, begging him to stay, but he walked out, the door clicking shut behind him. He drove to a friend's place, his hands gripping the wheel, so tight his knuckles whitened. Matt let him crash on his couch. No questions asked, though Jake could tell he'd heard whispers about the party. Over the next few days, Jake threw himself into work, sketching designs late into the night. But the hurt followed him. He kept replaying the party, the way guests had laughed awkwardly, the pity in their eyes. He called his cousin Lena, needing someone to talk to. She met him at a coffee shop, her face grim. I heard what happened, she said, stirring her latte. I didn't want to believe it, but some of us suspected something. She was always too close with that Chris guy at work events. Jake's jaw tightened. Why didn't anyone say anything? Lena sighed. We didn't know for sure. Just vibes. I am sorry, Jake. The confirmation stung, but it also lit a fire. Jake wasn't just hurt. He was angry. Not the kind of anger that made him want to scream or break things, but a quiet, burning need to reclaim himself. He started sketching again, not for work, but for himself. Dark, jagged lines, bold colors. Art that screamed the pain he couldn't say out loud. He posted one piece on Instagram, captioned simply, broken but not done. To his shock, it blew up. Hundreds of likes, then thousands. Comments poured in. This hits hard. Keep going, man. Strangers shared their own stories of betrayal, and Jake felt a spark of purpose. He wasn't alone, and he wasn't going to let Emma's lie define him. But Emma wasn't done. A week later, she texted, Can we talk? I'm so sorry. I need you. Jake stared at the message, his thumb hovering over the reply button. Part of him wanted to hear her out, to believe she could change. But another part, the part that remembered her smirk at the party, knew better. He typed back, nothing left to say. Then he blocked her number. Jake sat on the couch in his new Fremont apartment, the weight of Emma's late-night phone call pressing down on him. It had been 3 weeks since he'd left their shared home. Her confession at the party, can you believe I cheated on Jake? Still echoing in his mind. But her call last night was worse. Not one affair, but two. First Chris, her co-worker, then another guy months earlier. 2 secrets she'd hidden while Jake planned their future. He hadn't slept, his thoughts a tangle of anger and betrayal. He gripped his coffee mug, staring at the steam rising from it. The text he'd found on her phone after the party, flirty, intimate messages with Chris, had been bad enough. Now, knowing there was another betrayal, buried even deeper, made his stomach churn. How long had she lied? Who else knew? He'd moved out to escape the pain, but it followed him, clawing at the edges of every quiet moment. Jake's phone buzzed. A text from Lena. You okay? Heard Emma's been talking to people. He didn't reply. Instead, he called his lawyer, Carla, her calm voice a lifeline. I want the divorce papers drafted now, he said, pacing the small room. No dilas. Carla promised to expedite the process, no questions asked. Hanging up, Jake felt a flicker of control, but it wasn't enough to quiet the storm inside. He needed to move, to do something. He grabbed his sketchbook, the one constant that kept him grounded. Since the party, his art had taken on a new edge. Sharp lines, dark colors, raw emotion poured onto the page. Last week, a sketch of a broken bridge, captioned No Way Back, had gone viral on Instagram, racking up thousands of likes. Comments flooded in. This is my divorce in one image. Keep creating, man. Strangers shared their own stories of heartbreak, and Jake found solace in their words. His follower count was climbing, nearing 10,000, and a local gallery owner had even messaged about a potential show. But the art wasn't just therapy, it was defiance. Emma had humiliated him in front of their friends, and now her secrets were unraveling further. He wouldn't let her define him. He sketched now, a figure trapped in a cage of thorns, each line fueled by the sting of her lies. When he posted it online with the caption "Cages Break," the response was instant. Hundreds of likes in an hour, messages from followers saying his work gave them strength. Work at the design firm was a mixed bag. Jake threw himself into projects, but whispers about Emma's affairs had spread. During a lunch break, Matt pulled him aside in the office parking lot. "Heads up," Matt said, kicking at a pebble. "That Chris guy? He's been mouthing off. Said some crap about scoring with Emma. I told him to shut it, but people are talking." Jake's fist clenched. He's bragging. The idea of Chris gloating, turning his pain into a trophy, made his blood boil. "Thanks for telling me," he said, voice tight. He didn't want to confront Chris. Not yet. He'd learned from past heartbreaks that lashing out only left him emptier. Instead, he channeled it into another sketch that night. A lone figure facing a roaring crowd, unbowed. Posted with "Silence the Noise," it hit a nerve online, shared by accounts he'd never heard of. Emma wasn't done trying to claw her way back. She showed up at a bar where Jake was meeting Lena and Matt, her timing too perfect to be chance. She approached their table, her voice shaky. "Jake, can we talk?" "Alone." Lena shot Jake a look, but he nodded, stepping outside with Emma. The Seattle rain misted around them as she spoke, words tumbling out. "I'm so sorry. The second guy, it was one night, a mistake. I was stressed, and I didn't know how to tell you. I'm trying to fix myself." Jake's jaw tightened. "Fix yourself? You lied to me for months. You made a joke out of it in front of everyone. And now there's another guy." He stepped back, the distance between them growing. "You don't get to keep doing this to me." "I love you," she said, tears mixing with the rain. "I'll do therapy, anything. Please don't give up on us." He shook his head, his voice steady despite the ache. "You gave up on us when you chose to lie. I'm done." He walked back inside, leaving her standing in the drizzle. Lena squeezed his shoulder when he sat down. "You good?" she asked. He nodded, but his hands shook under the table. The next day, Jake met with Dr. Patel for therapy. He recounted the bar confrontation, his voice raw. "I keep thinking I should have seen it coming. Was I blind?" Dr. Patel leaned forward. "Betrayal blinds us all. The question is, what do you want your life to look like now?" Jake paused, then said, "I want to be someone who doesn't let this break him." That night, he got a call from Mia, the gallery owner. "Your work's getting buzz," she said. "I'm slotting you into a group show next month. Can you have 5 pieces ready?" Jake's heart raced. This was real. "I'm in," he said, already envisioning new sketches. The opportunity felt like a lifeline, a chance to turn his pain into purpose. But then came a twist. Matt texted him late. "Check your DMs. Someone sent me something about Emma." Jake opened Instagram, finding a message from an anonymous account. It was a screenshot of an email sent to Emma's work address, threatening to expose her affairs to her entire office unless she paid up. The sender claimed to have photos from her second fling. Jake's stomach churned. Someone else knew, and they were weaponizing it. He didn't know whether to feel vindicated or sick. He forwarded the screenshot to Carla, his lawyer, with a note. "Can this help the divorce?" Then he sat down to sketch, his hand moving faster than ever. This time, it was a phoenix half-formed, rising from ashes. He didn't post it. Not yet. This one was for him, a reminder that he was burning down the old Jake to build something stronger. Jake hunched over his sketchbook in his Fremont apartment, the faint hum of Seattle traffic filtering through the window. For months had passed since Emma's betrayal at their party, and her recent confession of a second affair had hardened his resolve. His divorce papers were in motion, and his art, raw, jagged depictions of pain and resilience, was gaining traction online. With 25,000 Instagram followers and a gallery show looming, Jake was channeling his hurt into something powerful. But the past kept clawing back. His phone lit up with a message from Carla, his lawyer. "Divorce filing is on track. The email screenshot you sent helps. Shows Emma's instability. Court date next month." Jake exhaled, a weight lifting. The anonymous email, threatening to expose Emma's affairs to her workplace, had been a shock, but it gave him leverage. He didn't care about revenge. Not really, just closure. He replied, "Thanks. Keep me posted." Then he turned back to his sketch, a figure breaking free from chains, the lines sharp and defiant. This one was for the gallery. Work at the design firm was steady, but tense. Whispers about Emma's affairs had spread, fueled by Chris's bragging. Jake avoided office gossip, focusing on client projects, but the humiliation stung. During a coffee run, Matt dropped another bombshell. "Heard from Sarah," he said, stirring his espresso. "Emma's been spiraling. Lost her job last week, showed up late too many times. And she's been calling mutual friends, begging for support." Jake nodded, his face blank. He felt no pity, only a quiet resolve to keep moving forward. Therapy with Dr. Patel was his anchor. In their latest session, Jake admitted, "I'm angry, but not just at her. At myself for trusting her." Dr. Patel leaned forward. "Trust isn't a flaw, Jake. It's a strength. The question is, how do you rebuild it for yourself?" The words hit hard. Jake realized he'd been pouring his trust into Emma, neglecting his own instincts. He left the session determined to focus on his art and his future. His Instagram was buzzing. A recent post, a sketch of a lone figure standing against a storm, had gone viral, shared by a local art blog. Comments poured in. "This is my breakup in one image. You're inspiring me to keep going." The gallery owner, Mia, called to confirm his spot in the show. "Bring 5 pieces," she said. "Your work's raw real. People connect with it." Jake agreed, his mind racing with ideas. He spent nights sketching, each piece a step toward reclaiming his story. But Emma wasn't done. She texted him late one evening, "Jake, I'm sorry. I'm in therapy now. Can we meet? I need to explain." He stared at the message, his thumb hovering. Part of him wanted to ignore it, but another part needed answers. Not for her, but for himself. He replied, "One meeting. Neutral ground. Tomorrow, 3 p.m., Fremont Coffee." He needed to see if she'd own her actions or just beg for forgiveness. The next day, Jake arrived early at the coffee shop, grabbing a corner table. Emma walked in, her posture tense, clutching a to-go cup. "Thanks for meeting me," she said, sitting across from him. "I've been a mess. Losing my job, my friends, it's all crashing down." Her voice cracked, but Jake stayed silent, waiting. She took a breath. "I know I hurt you. The affairs, they weren't about you. I was selfish, lost. I'm working on it in therapy, but I need you to know I regret it." Jake leaned back, his voice steady. "Regret doesn't erase what you did. 2 affairs, Emma. You hid them, then laughed about one in front of everyone. Why should I care about your therapy?" His words were calm, but cutting. She flinched, her eyes welling up. "I thought I could fix it without you knowing," she said. "I was scared to lose you. I still am." He shook his head. "You lost me when you chose to lie. I'm not your safety net anymore." He stood, leaving cash for his coffee. "Don't contact me again." Walking out, he felt lighter, like he'd cut a final tether. Back at his apartment, Jake got a call from Lena. "You're not going to believe this," she said. "Sarah found out who sent that blackmail email. It's some coworker Emma pissed off, jealous of her promotion last year. They're threatening to post photos online unless she pays up." Jake's jaw tightened. Emma's mess was growing, but he wouldn't get pulled in. He thanked Lena and hung up, then emailed Carla the update. "Can we use this in court?" he asked. Her reply was swift. "It strengthens our case. She's unreliable." The gallery show was 2 weeks away, and Jake threw himself into prep. He finished 3 pieces, each one bolder than the last. One, a phoenix rising from shattered glass, felt like his manifesto. He posted a teaser online, captioned "From Ashes to Art," and the response was electric. Thousands of likes, even a DM from a curator in Portland asking to feature his work. His pain was becoming his power, and he wasn't hiding anymore. But then came a twist. Late one night, Jake got a DM from an unknown account. "Check this link. You deserve to know." It led to a private blog post with grainy photos. Emma with a man, not Chris, at a bar, time-stamped months before the party. The post wasn't public yet, but the threat was clear: pay, or it goes viral. Jake's heart raced. This was the second affair, now at risk of exposing his private pain to the world. He forwarded the link to Carla, his hands shaking. "This could hurt me too," he told her over the phone. "People will see me as the idiot who didn't know." Carla's voice was calm. "We'll handle it. This shows her pattern of deceit. Focus on your show." Jake hung up, rattled but determined. He started a new sketch, a figure shielding itself from a barrage of arrows, each one labeled with a lie. He didn't post it. This one was his armor, a reminder that Emma's chaos couldn't touch him anymore. The night before the gallery show, Matt and Lena took him out for drinks to celebrate. "You're killing it, man," Matt said, raising a beer. "Your art's everywhere now." Lena grinned, and Emma stuck dealing with her own mess. "Karma's real." Jake clinked glasses, a small smile breaking through. For the first time in months, he felt like he was writing his own story, not living in the wreckage of hers. Jake stood in the packed Seattle gallery, the buzz of the crowd filling the air as art lovers milled around his 5 pieces. It was opening night of the group show, 6 months after Emma's betrayal at their party had shattered his world. His sketches, bold, raw depictions of pain and rebirth, drew whispers and nods from strangers. His Instagram following had hit 40,000, and tonight his phoenix rising from shattered glass was the talk of the room. Jake clutched a glass of sparkling water, his nerves steady but electric. This was his moment. The past months had been a grind. His divorce from Emma was nearly finalized, the court date set for next week. Carla, his lawyer, had used the blackmail emails and photos exposing Emma's affairs to paint her as unreliable, ensuring Jake a clean split. Emma's life, meanwhile, had crumbled. Lena had told him she'd moved to a small apartment, cut off by most friends and unemployed after her workplace drama went public. Jake didn't gloat. He just wanted to be free. Therapy with Dr. Patel had been his lifeline. Last session, Jake said, "I'm not angry anymore. I just want to be someone I'm proud of." Dr. Patel smiled. "You're already there. Keep choosing yourself." Those words fueled him as he prepped for the show, pouring late nights into perfecting his art. His day job at the design firm took a back seat. He'd even started freelancing, his sketches earning side gigs from local businesses. Tonight, the gallery felt like a turning point. Mia, the owner, pulled him aside early in the evening. "Your work's selling," she said, her voice excited. "The Phoenix piece? A collector from Portland wants it for $5,000. Jake's jaw dropped. $5,000 for a sketch born from his darkest nights? He nodded, stunned, and Mia clapped his shoulder. "This is just the start." As he mingled, a woman approached him, mid-30s, with a warm smile and a notepad. "I'm Rachel, a curator from Tacoma," she said. "Your art's got a pulse. I'd love to feature you in a solo show next year." Jake shook her hand, his mind racing. A solo show? He'd barely processed the offer when Matt and Lena arrived, toasting him with cheap gallery wine. "You're a rock star," Lena said, grinning. "Bet Emma's kicking herself now." Jake shrugged, but the mention of Emma stirred something. He hadn't heard from her since their coffee shop meeting, where he'd shut down her pleas. The blackmail threat had fizzled. The coworker behind it backed off after Emma's public fallout made the gossip worthless. But the photos of her second affair had leaked online anyway, posted on a local gossip blog. Jake had braced for humiliation, but the comment surprised him. "She's the one who looks bad, not you. Your art's proof you're stronger." His followers rallied, turning his pain into a badge of resilience. Midway through the evening, Jake stepped outside for air, the cool Seattle night grounding him. His phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "It's Emma. New phone. Can we talk after your show? I owe you the truth." Jake's stomach twisted. The truth? She'd already confessed to 2 affairs. What more could she say? He didn't reply, pocketing the phone. He wasn't that Jake anymore, the one who'd chase her excuses. Back inside, the crowd thinned, but Rachel found him again. "A minute about this solo show," she said, handing him her card. "You got something special. Don't stop." Jake thanked her, a spark of hope igniting. As she walked away, Mia announced that all 5 of his pieces had sold, drawing applause. Jake's chest swelled, not with pride, but with certainty. He was building something real, something Emma couldn't touch. After the show, Jake, Matt, and Lena grabbed late-night tacos at a food truck. As they laughed over greasy al pastor, Jake's phone buzzed again. Another text from Emma. "I'm outside the gallery. Please, 5 minutes." He sighed, showing the message to Lena. "She's relentless," Lena said, rolling her eyes. "You don't owe her anything." Matt nodded. "But if you want closure, get it over with." Jake agreed. He needed to end this for good. He walked back to the gallery, finding Emma leaning against a lamppost, her posture defeated. "Thanks for coming," she said, her voice low. "I didn't want to ruin your night. I saw your show from outside. Your art's incredible." Jake stayed silent, waiting. She took a shaky breath. "I lied about it being just 2 times. There were others. Not affairs, just moments. I was reckless, running for myself. I'm telling you now, because you deserve to know who I really was. Jake's hands clenched, but his voice was calm. Why now? What do you want from me? Nothing, she said, tears falling. I'm moving away, Portland, maybe. I just wanted to own it. I destroyed us, not you. I am sorry. She stepped back, like she was giving him space to walk away. He looked at her, the woman he'd once loved, now a stranger. You didn't destroy me, he said, his tone firm. You broke my trust, but I'm stronger now. I hope you figure yourself out, Emma, but I'm done carrying your mistakes. He turned, walking back to the food truck, her silhouette fading behind him. The next week, Jake met Carla to sign the final divorce papers. You're free, she said, sliding the documents over. Jake signed, a weight lifting. Back at his apartment, he started a new sketch, a figure stepping into light, unburdened. He posted it with the caption, "New Chapter." The likes rolled in, but the real victory was internal. He'd chosen himself. A month later, Jake met Rachel for coffee to plan his solo show. Her kindness and passion for art felt like a fresh start. Not a romance, but a connection built on respect. His freelancing was thriving, and he'd quit the design firm to focus on his art full-time. Lena texted him a screenshot of Emma's LinkedIn. She'd moved to Portland, working a low-level job, her profile bare of her old bravado. Jake didn't care. Her story was hers now. That night, Jake raised a beer to his reflection in the window. To me, he said, a quiet vow. His scars remained, but they were proof he'd survived. He was whole, not because of Emma's fall, but because he'd risen. End.